President Jin Liqun from AIIB. Welcome to CCTV News.
Thank you very much.
Earlier, I had an interview with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He was talking about Canada as the first North American country to apply to join AIIB. He said there are still many other projects that his country can work on with China on infrastructure. What is your response?
I talked to him briefly yesterday, and he said, I'm so delighted to join AIIB. And I said, we are very, very happy and very much honored to have Canada as a new member. A new member with about more than 20 other countries waiting to join the bank. And we'll try to complete the membership process by the end of this year.
What is the membership process like?
You see, by Articles of Agreement, the applicants must register before the end of September. And then we would have the Board of Governors to approve the applicants as new members if they meet all the requirements. So we think with Canada's participation, AIB will be further strengthened in its efforts to promote infrastructure development in its member countries.
But Mr. Jin, President Jin, what do you think it might mean for the other two North American countries?
Our position has been consistent. If the countries want to join the AIIB, particularly the systemically significant economies, certainly that would be a great plus to our institution. As you know, those countries have experience in state governance. They can provide professionals of high caliber to join the bank. And on the board, they can help enhance the governance of this institution. So the importance does not rest with the financial resources, but more important, to strengthen the governance of this institution.
You're suggesting, it seems to me, President Jin, that whoever is not joining AIIB is having a pity because their voice will not be heard.
I think you have read too much into my points. I'm saying that AIIB is willing to work with all of the countries in this world. For some reason, some countries are not members or not members yet, but we still have lots of opportunities of working together. Because the bank is transparent, is open, we practice international competitive bidding, and we have global recruitment policies. So a country could not be a member, but still participating in the international competitive bidding. Their companies can be involved in the infrastructure investment, and their nationals can join our bank as professionals.
The infrastructure that will have a commercial future is certainly going to be very different from only government-provided funding. So what do you make of the so-called good infrastructure?
Infrastructure projects can only be effective and productive when they are part of the National Development Program. Even more so if they are part of the regional development program. You can build a road, you can build a port, but you have to think about the supporting role by other infrastructure projects. A port cannot be effective without linkage by railway, by road, and power plant must be supported by the transmission lines. That is why when we look at the feasibility or viability of an infrastructure project, we have to look at the National Development Program. We have to look at the sequence of the development in infrastructure and other areas. You talk about the well-funded infrastructure. Sometimes an infrastructure project would be probably running out of resources because it's normally has a long gestation period, which is very, very big in its demand for resources. So that's why we can cooperate with other MDBs, multilateral development institutions, to help the developing countries achieve the good results.
What is the relations between the idea and the implementation as such as organization as AIB and also OBOR, One Belt, One Road? What exactly, how they interact with one another?
These two initiatives are related, of course, but they are different. AIB is not the same as One Belt, One Road. One Belt, One Road is a program, is an initiative to promote infrastructure development in the countries along those geographical areas. AIIB is a multilateral development institution. We have quite a number of the founding members out of 57 who are on the geographical area. So it's all right for us to support the infrastructure of all those countries. For instance, maritime Silk Road, and also railways, roads on the vast Uranian continent. But we have to take care of the countries which are not along the geographical.
So OBR is not your priority?
No, I cannot say not our priority. It's part of our priority, but we have to take care of the countries which are not along the One Belt, One Road.
How projects are being decided?
The projects would be proposed to AIB by the governments, by the private sector, or we will reach out to the countries, to the private sector for any possible projects. So it's a two-way traffic. And sometimes you see one project can lead to the initiation of another one.
Of course, but who will make the final decision as to how the money will be spent and whether the money is being spent well?
The final decision actually should be made by all of the parties concerned, because this is not one man's band. If we would like to do a project very much, but if the host country of the project sponsor have different views, you cannot do it, right? So now this relates to the issue of One Belt, One Road, because a lot of people ask me, some people even put it in a very, I would say, provocative way, say, One Belt, One Road program initiated by China, this is your rulemaking by China. I said, no, that's not rulemaking. This is the program. And if we really talk about rulemaking, China makes rules with all of the countries concerned, right? So, for instance, if we are approached for a project, our professionals will look at the viability, feasibility. We will at least look at three basic requirements.
What are they?
The first is financial sustainability, whether they would be profitable or loss-making. Okay, we do not aim at profit maximization, but it must be profitable. Otherwise, the bank will not be sustained. Second, environmentally friendly. We are not going to leave a heavy footprint in environmental ecosystems if we do a project in a particular country. And thirdly, the last but not the least, socially acceptable. You cannot do a project in a community when people have serious concerns. The concerns may be misguided, but you have to explain them away.
Right.
The concerns may be real ones, or whether you can solve the issues, ease their concerns through engineering or technical means.
President Jin, there have been a lot of discussion about the AIB. One of it is how is it interacting with the other development banks? Of course, you got Asia Development Bank, you also got some of the world banks, which is international, and you also got new development banks, which is the development bank that has been set up with equal share by the BRICS countries themselves. So what is your relations with this?
Different institutions have different mission. For instance, the World Bank and ADB focus very much on social development, including environment, education, health, and environment protection. And we focus exclusively on infrastructure and other productive sectors. So you see, we have different missions to accomplish. But just because of the difference, we can have better opportunity of cooperation among us.
At this stage, AIB is still not necessarily the biggest development bank, and yet you are still having co-financing project with the others. Many would ask why we still need AIB.
That's a very interesting question. A lot of people asked me about the same question. And you see, it's very interesting to note that when you have a new institution, the new institution must be able to meet the specific needs of the client countries, right? As I said, World Bank and ADB focus very much on environment and poverty reduction and the social programs. We do not aim at poverty reduction directly. We promote broad-based economic and social development through investment in infrastructure and other productive sectors, thereby reducing poverty. So the approaches are different. Different institutions have different approaches.
Is your approach likely to be the future approach, you think?
I don't think so. You cannot say our approach would be the future approach. Everybody else would have to copy. No, you have different roles to play. To put to draw an analogy, you walk into a very nice neighborhood.
Okay.
You find 2 restaurants, but probably you say, "Hey, I would like to have a Chinese restaurant. Where is it?" Here we are.
All right. With fortune cookies.
Yes.
Having said that, though, President Jin, I do want to ask you about this. What is the aspiration of AIB? Is it one day going to become not just Asian infrastructure development bank, but rather things with a world in front of it?
Okay. The title, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, refers to the fact that Asian countries are the originators of this institution, and Asian countries are the majority of the institution. But by the Articles of Agreement, we can support infrastructure projects in member countries which are not Asian countries, as long as the financing of these projects would be good for Asian economy. So this is actually a really international development institution, serving the interests of all its member countries.
Mr. Jin, when you walk into our studio here in Hangzhou, while overlooking the West Lake, we also saw from the live feed Chinese President Xi Jinping as coming from the host country, welcoming all the leaders of the 20 economies of the G20 and also observer countries, international organizations. That really puts people with a big question mark. That is, what is China's ambition? And what about development institutions like yours? And what is likely to be related to China's future?
You see, chairing G20 is the responsibility of each and every 20 members of this forum. So it's certainly great for China to chair this meeting in Hangzhou. And I think it took place at a time after almost 40 years of opening up development. China has a lot of things to recommend itself. How we develop infrastructure, how we grow our economy, how we improve the livelihood of the people, leaving 700 million people out of poverty and another 50 million people out of poverty by 2020. So this is the achievement of China. We invite all the other member countries to come to China, and we would like to share China's development experience with them. This is my feeling as a Chinese national. As the president of the AIIB, I'm certainly very much happy to have the opportunity of listening to the instructions and of these leaders, how such a development bank can fit into the needs of the present world. How can we help promote investment and trade? And how can we promote innovative-oriented growth model, as President Xi Jinping raised yesterday? So we have a lot of things to do, and this is an opportunity for our bank to be more engaged and deeply engaged with the global economy.
President Jin, before you go, final question for you. Not long ago, I had the honor of both having exclusive interview with you and many of the other vice presidents coming from different parts of the world who are members of AIB. And a few months have passed. I do wonder, President Jin, how is it like for you to work with all of these people coming from different parts of the world, certainly with very different cultural backgrounds and very different idea probably also about development, infrastructure, and how a development bank like Asia Infrastructure Development Bank should be run?
First of all the 57 founding members share the common aspirations of promoting infrastructure.
Are you being
development.
diplomatic, Mr. Jin?
I would be saying that I always speak from my heart. And if you say I'm diplomatic, that does not mean I try to mince my words. I am diplomatic because I try to be courteous and polite, and I would like to have a very good, friendly, candid conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do not agree with some of the points, I will be frank enough to tell you, Ms. Tian, I don't agree with you. But surprisingly enough, over the last 6 months of our operation, the vice presidents and other senior members of the management have really, I would say, enjoyed working together in this institution, despite their diverse background, because we share the common aspiration to achieve development for all. Now, you may not believe it. It's so seldom we have very different views.
Really?
That makes my life very comfortable. That's why I could have some time to sneak into Hangzhou and talk to you.
Well, I'm sure you have many work to do here in Hangzhou to talk to many of the countries that are present here. But it's always such a pleasure, President Jin Liqun, for being with us. And always good luck to the AIIB.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so.
Thank you.